Good.
Nice.
It went in.
Wait, we gotta look at that. So we're gonna look at a couple pro players first, just to kind of draw some commonalities on the serve, and where I can, we're gonna look at some first serves specifically. So this is a flat serve right down the tee from Raonic. What we're going to focus on is the angle of the racket as it starts to fall from the trophy pose. So we have trophy pose. We're actually going to look at the angle of the racket all the way through. So in trophy pose, how would you describe the angle of the strings? He's going to be hitting with that side of the racket. How would you describe like the alignment of the racket face here?
Vertical.
Okay.
Right.
And what else? Facing what direction?
Towards the side.
Okay, yep. And now we're going to look at it at the bottom. How would you describe the racket's alignment at the bottom of the serve?
Vertical again.
Okay. And how about the strings, the face?
And then facing the other side almost, or maybe 45.
Okay, all right, good. And now right before contact, we're going to do the same thing.
Facing the same side as it was down.
Okay,
And now it's horizontal.
okay. And it's not until just before contact that the racket turns and presents the strings towards the ball.
Right, okay.
And then there's a release because there's this opening or unwinding of the hand and the arm right before contact.
Yep.
That's that angular
Yep.
release.
That's the pronation, right?
Yeah, just continues
Yep.
through contact. So let me show you the contrast between. We looked at Milos on his flat serve. Now we're going to look at a kick serve as well. This is a kick serve that's going out wide on the ad side, and so it's going to be different. The trophy pose is the same setup position. The drop of the racket is also the same, with a little bit more angle in towards the net. His racket's not turned towards the side quite as much. The reason for that is as he goes up towards contact, he's pulling the edge in this direction instead of that direction.
Right. So instead of there,
Yep.
he's pulling it there.
Right.
Okay.
So watch the release here. He's still bringing it up on edge, but the strings are now facing towards the net instead of to the side because he's hitting up and past the ball out along the baseline. So he's still releasing his hand, he's still pronating, but now the angle of the racket is facing back towards the camera instead of to the right of the court. Does that make sense? So this is what makes the spin. It's a ton of top spin and a little bit of side spin that he's putting on this serve.
Yeah, because it's hitting.
It's the same mechanism, just in a different direction. It's edge, 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 release, and then finish the follow through. Make sense?
Yep.
So that's the difference between a flat serve and a top spin or a spin serve in a nutshell.
Just the angle.
The direction of the swing.
Direction of swing.
Yeah.
Either here or here.
Yep.
Where you're. Okay. Yep.
And if you want to expand that a little more, flat serve, go ahead and just kind of stand up next to the baseline like you're getting ready to serve. On a flat serve, you're delivering the racket this way. On a kick serve, like from Raonic, we're delivering the racket this way.
That much difference.
And on a slice serve, where you're trying to put a lot of side spin on the ball, you'll be delivering the racket more this way.
Okay. All right. So it's there for the flat.
Yep.
It's there for the slice.
Yep.
And it's all the way over here.
Yep. For
the
top
kick?
spin. Yep.
Okay. But the yeah. Yeah, you heard that.
I did. No problem.
That's good. Yeah. Foley work there.
Does the ball position change at all?
It does a little bit. Flat and slice are very similar.
Yeah.
Kick, you'll want to be back a little bit further. I want to draw a contrast between what we saw from the pro players. Okay, so trophy pose, where's your racket facing?
Side.
Bottom, we'll call right here. Where's your racket facing?
Kind up into the side.
Yep. You remember where the pros, where the racket face was facing at this point?
Yeah, it was to the side.
The racket was
And
more
it was vertical.
right. Yeah. The racket was more straight up and down,
Yeah.
and the strings were
And I like
either
45.
facing that way or maybe kind of towards the
Right.
towards the net post.
Yeah.
Okay. So watch the racket face. On the way up towards the ball, where are your strings facing?
No, up at the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yep. That's why I go long on some of my serves.
And after contact, where are your strings facing?
Down. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So we're missing,
Yeah, the whole pronation, the whole.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're missing the drop, we're missing the edge, and we're missing the release.
Okay.
And so this is the flat serve, and here's your second serves.
Yep.
Okay, trophy pose,
Yep.
bottom
Same. Yep.
on the way up,
Yep.
contact.
Same. Yep. Okay.
So they're all the same.
Very apparent. Very apparent. Okay.
Yeah, where Milos had very clear difference in the direction he was swinging.
Yeah.
You have the same basic framework. The first problem is your margin for error is tiny because it's kind of like if you watch the direction of the racket here, because you're kind of carving down into the side. It's almost a little bit on the way down. You're making mostly side spin. I think maybe a little bit of underspin. And so the margin for error over the top of the net, that's going to send a very direct, straight shot with a little bit of right to left.
Yeah.
And so it's a very skidding serve.
Yes.
But
Very skidding.
the margin over the top of the net is very small. With this delivery, with an open face, and then down and through, you'll never hit topspin. It's not topspin by definition is where the racket moves past the ball upwards, and you're moving past the ball downwards.
Playing like
And
never
so
had topspin on my serve.
you can't. Yeah, it's impossible with this approach with an open face and then down and to the right. Topspin's not possible. So we'll never be able to get the high margin over the net that somebody with a topspin serve will have. And that margin's huge. Right now you're having to slow down on your second serve. And it's just the same thing as your first, just a little bit more careful.
Right.
And that's going to leave you really handcuffed with the serve. Players at 4 or 5 pretty universally are swinging just as fast on their second serve as their first. The difference is the direction, like what we saw from Raonic.
Yeah.
They're not slowing down, they're just changing the direction that they're throwing the racket. And so they're creating lots of space and margin without being careful. And so they're not giving the benefit of a slow serve to their opponent, and they're getting lots of movement, and they're putting a really high margin over the top of the net, all at the same time. So the first thing we're going to do, Tim, is just trace through those different angle positions that we saw from the pros. So go ahead and step up to the baseline, and you and I are going to mirror each other.
Okay.
We don't need a ball right now.
Okay.
Probably not for a little while. So the first position we paused at was the trophy pose. You remember how the racket was straight up and down, and the strings were facing along the baseline? So that's position 1.
Okay.
The second position we looked at was after the body started to turn, the racket dropped, and we looked at the bottom of the motion. So there, the racket again was vertical, and the strings were facing the other direction as you described it, which is perfect. Then, on the way up, the edge maintained its position until right before contact, and then the hand turned, and then it continued to turn after contact. Yep, exactly. So position 1 is hand facing along the baseline. Position 2 is hand turning in to face the other way. Position 3 is the hand turning to face the box. And then position 4 is the hand turning to face back out again, the other direction. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So very, very slowly, please trace through that again. So trophy pose, and take a little pause at each one. So hand facing along to the right. and hand facing to the left. Hand facing forwards. Yep, good. Keep tracing through it. Good. Last one. Same looseness. Good. Let's check that real quick. And then we're going to add one thing. What's it feeling like?
Good. Good. It feels like I'm trying to like just barely be holding on to the racket.
Yeah.
Just like let it dangle.
Yep.
I guess.
Here's your last one. Nice.
It's a lot different.
So yeah, this is completely opposite from what you're used to doing. Your normal service motion is a push. The face starts open, your hand starts open, and then you're dragging the racket in that open position all the way up towards contact and past the ball and around. And this is a pull. You're now pulling the handle and the butt cap upwards first to lead the handle and then invert the racket head through contact. And so that's where snap comes from.
It does feel like a pull versus a push. Yeah.
So all we're gonna do now is take the same structure and we're gonna send it along the baseline. Remember we saw that from Raonic? So with Raonic on his flat serve, he delivered all that energy through the ball towards his target.
Yeah.
See how his racket is releasing towards the corner that he's serving in? Whereas on the kick serve, his body stays more sideways. But at contact, look at where his chest is facing. And so that's
It's facing the side.
which is the direction he's sending the racket in. And so what we're going to do now is hold that same edge position and come up and release out along the baseline. And that's what's going to give us a ton of spin. Not underspin or side spin, but top spin.
Top spin.
All right, so we're going to slowly trace through the same mechanics, but now you're going to release the racket up and along the baseline. Yeah, good, good, good. So from here and after the drop, we want the racket to get pulled up this way and then across. See if you can trace that really slow. Drop, and then, yes, correct, yes, yes, yeah. What's the phrase? What's the magic phrase?
Racket face sends it from path of it.
That's right. So path of your racket is going like there, like at the I-beam on the wall over there. No way, no way. Oh my gosh. That would have been better than yours.
Yeah,
What's the face if we want the ball to go in the box? That's right. The path is there, the face is there. And it's that separation between path and face that makes the ball spin. When the path and the face are in alignment, it's a flat shot.
Okay.
Remember, the path bends it.
Yep.
It's because you're swinging that way that you're going to make all that spin while your strings are facing that way. That's ultimately what makes the ball rotate. All right, you're going to make 2 shadow swings, just focusing on tracing that same up and out to the side path. And then after your second one, I want you to toss a ball. And just all 100% of your attention needs to go towards just committing to making your racket path be that same path. You can't think about anything else but just swing that way, swing that way, swing that way. And just let everything else take care of itself.
Anything's gonna happen.
I think he goes hybrid slider, hybrid slider, and throws in a little bit of underspin on it. But it'll be a lot of spin, I think.
Yeah, it's a safe bet.
Good.
Nice.
It went in.
Wait, we gotta look at that. Now, I know that didn't sound or feel the way you wanted it to.
That's how it should feel every time.
But did you see the shape the ball had?
Yes, I did.
How would you describe the shape the ball had?
It did what you said. It came up and over
Well, I'll be
with lots of side spin. or top spin.
Both.
Top spin
Yeah,
and
it
side
moved.
spin.
Yeah, it moved in both directions. All right, good. So we've got more.
Still not.
Yeah,
Need more drop.
you're kind of lassoing it around
Yeah.
the side a little bit instead of dropping it down.
Drop it.
We do have more edge here. Like we're at like 45 degrees now, whereas previously it was like wide open and you were just cutting, down and across.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why I did that. Look where I hit it.
But if you look at we can actually see the ball rotating.
Yeah. Look at it. It's going like sideways. Like.
But the best part is the height over the top of the net.
Yeah.
And it's not a fair example because we didn't actually hit the strings, but
Yeah.
but this all worked out exactly the way we wanted it to. We're on the right track with it.
Nice. Definitely hooked her on that one.
Was it close to the? Oh, is he doing it?
Yeah, he was doing it. Come on, come on, come on.
Oh, how does he do it twice in a row?
There's no way.
You'll never do that again
No.
the rest of your life.
Two
Dead off the frame.
dead off the frame with
in the
spin.
box. Yeah, in the box. Yeah. There's no strings were involved in that shot. That's really impressive. Couple shadows again, Tim.
He just wants to say, I can do it again. This isn't very
Now,
hard.
if you do it 3 times in a row, probably shouldn't. I'll give you my Toyota Yaris if you go 3 times in a row.
You probably put it in the carry-on space above the plane.
Okay, same thing. Just commit to the path, Tim.
Yep.
Nothing else matters. Just commit to the path. Good.
Nice.
Holy crap. Did you see how high over the net that was? I mean, you probably doubled, about doubled the height of the net, and it was well inside the service line. That's what we're after. Do a couple shadows again, please. Trace the path. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Change the serve location.
Let-
Toss location.
Let's take a look at that.
That was good.
Here's the second serve that we looked at earlier, Tim. Okay, here's the one
Yeah.
here's the one that you made. So here on the right is the slider. You see the direction here?
Yep.
And so you see how the racket is actually kind of on the way down
Yeah.
as you're making contact?
Yes.
And so that's what caused the ball to skid and stay so low, was you're actually putting a little bit of underspin on the ball along with a bunch of side spin. So here's the one that you just had with that curve. So now the racket's still traveling upwards. This is really close to the peak. It's right about the peak. So there's more, like there's still more high to low curve we can get out of this. But you look at the difference between the
right.
previous contact point and this one.
Yep. What a difference.
And also look at, I'm curious about this. So we've got a little more edge here, and I know this looks very small, but it's a big deal. Like every 5 degrees or 10 degrees of angle, we can get on the racket. It helps a ton. So those two things combine to create this shape. You're probably crossing the net about, looks like about here or so. Probably about 2 feet or so.
Versus 6 inches.
Compared to this one, the slider. Look at the path of that ball.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
dead. It's
Yeah.
dead
Yeah.
straight. So we have, it's tricky to return, but your margin is so tiny compared to this one.
Yeah.
Look at the shape and the path on that.
Yep.
So the trajectory is much higher. The net clearance is much higher, and it's bouncing, I think, about the same distance from the line. A little bit closer. But anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah.
The path of the racket is what's sending the ball that different shape. the path bends it. And so it's all about sticking to this new path. And we can optimize it more. This is just the start. This to you feels really sideways, but you see how you're actually, like in reality, you're actually going towards the clock.
Yeah.
And so that's how much, like we were trying to get you, just swing at the wall, just to get you about in that direction.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. Like you just kind of have to trick yourself a little bit to get moving in the right direction. But we're going to keep on, optimizing it. And once we get that shape, your second serve is going to be completely different. You're not going to have to slow down anymore.
Nope.
It's not going to be a tentative shot. And that's going to be kind of the building block for the first building block for your serve.
I like it.
Any questions on it?
I'm excited. No.
Good.
No, I think I got it.